Hi, I'm Abhilash. So we start with the NCERT class 6. The foundation starts with doing all the NCERT books which we have. Now in NCERT there's a little bit of overload of information that you have to do NCERT old, that is before 2001 books, few of them. NCERT new, which is around 2001 and 2 republication of book, not republication, revisiting of the book. And then the current 2004, 24, 25, there has been some upgrades. So now what happens is basically whichever generation studies as their academic curriculum, that is what mostly is understood as is their knowledge for that particular themes or topics. So hence the for we do that. But why we go for old books is because of the way a few big historians who have been associated with NCRT and the way they have written the language, that helps us to coherently understand the various topics. Social sciences is what we start with today. In if you remember in your schooling also, from class 6 till class 9, it was called social science, where we spoke about the history, the geography, the uh, political science, and then economics. Now we go by that, building our foundation. And today's first program, and I will be also sharing the entire content which you see over here. It is all open generic content. We will do a very crisp kind of a class. It's more of a recollection of foundation building classes. You have any doubt, you can always submit your doubt and I'll come back to you. Uh, all the details are there in the email, in the description. How do you reach to me? Uh, but see that you are subscribed to the foundation plan and you follow the pattern of doing a daily routine. So, locating places on Earth is the chapter one, which speaks about maps, which speaks about coordinates, which speaks about time or time zones. So, as we understand that in any, uh, if we have the location of a map, we can, with the help of direction, we can and distance, we can understand how far or how near it is. So mapping becomes a very critical element in understanding the location of a place. So what are these locations, or how do we start the topic about? So locating places on Earth, discovering our place on Earth is a fascinating journey, and this represents explores maps, coordinates, and time zones. We learn how to pinpoint location and understand global time differences. So, what is a map? A map is a visual representation of an area, typically depicting geographical features and political boundaries. So, that's why we call various types of maps. We call it as political maps, where the boundary of the country or the state or the district is represented, or physical map, where the physical feature like uh, river, like mountains are mentioned over there, or thematic maps. For example, heat distribution or population distribution. So these are thematic maps. So these are the broad category of maps which we study in our uh, any day-to-day life. Maps help us to understand, to navigate spatial relationships, and also locate places on Earth. That is the most critical part. The key components of map include a title, that there will be a title of the map, a legend, that talks about which is the direction of map and what are the markers or what are the symbols of the map. The scale, if map is to the scale, the compass rose, that is direction wise, which I mentioned, and the grid system that we will know in the next slides. Now you understand that Earth is a sphere. So when Earth is a sphere, so can we use something called as a flat projection? We cannot. To represent spherical Earth, we had certain projection method on basis of which we denote a map, denote it on a map. We also know something called globe, which is also a sphere body. And globe kind of represents the Earth's projections. We create a grid of system, which is we all know as longitude and latitudes, through which we are able to denote a location in this map. We also include land masses, water bodies, and other geographical elements which can be covered in the map to denote where their location is. So, map becomes a definite information uh, uh, gathering of and depiction when it comes to a single map. So, coordinates are the numbers used to specify a location on Earth. So, coordinates consist of latitude, that is the north or south position, and longitude, which is east and west position. Now we know that Earth rotates from west to east. Earth rotates from west to east. The east direction is where sun comes, and opposite to east is west, and then north and south. So when we know with respect to sun what is east and west, with respect to sun we also come to know, because of the direction of rotation, north and south. Now these are certain points basis on which coordinates are formed. So latitudes are imaginary horizontal lines that run parallel to equator. So what is equator? Equator is running west to east, which actually does the hemisphere into half. So if we go upwards, a latitude of decreasing radius circle goes, that is called latitudes. Equator is considered at 0 degree, and at the north pole it is called as 90 degree north, and in the south pole it is called as 90 degree south. So latitudes are measured in degrees from 0 degree at the equator to 90 degree at the poles. Latitude helps determine climate zones, navigate across different regions. Next is longitudes. Now, longitudes are the vertical line which is running from pole to pole, that is from north pole to south pole. So where we saw that latitude are of different radius as we go from equator to north pole, longitudes are same altogether because it is running from pole to pole. Now this longitude is considered a 0 degree was in 1884. Many international body worked together to create a standard feature, and they called it as a prime meridian or 0 degrees, which passes through Greenwich in UK. We call it as Greenwich Mean Time (GMT). So that 0 degree is together all the nations have decided that passes through London. So pole to pole it is coming that 0 degree. Now longitude range from 0 degree 180 degree east or 180 degree west of primary. How come this happened? Now you know that it is a sphere, Earth is a sphere, and total degrees in a sphere is 360 degrees. So when there is 360 degree and we have a 0 degree, let us distribute towards east, that is where the sun comes from, or west, where the sun falls, sets. So 180 degree east and 180 degree west. So total 180 plus 180, 360 degrees. So now we know that for our denotification, the prime meridian line is passing through London or Greenwich, which is at 0 degree. So the western side to it, towards the Americas, will be 180 degrees west. It will start from like 10 degree, 20 degree west, 30 degree west. On eastern side of it, that is towards India, will be or Japan, will be around 0 degree, 10 degree east, 20 degree east, 30 degree east, like that. So this is how we calculate in the or projected in the map the coordinates. So now in the hemisphere wise, what we see is the equator divides north hemisphere and southern hemisphere. The range is from 0 degree at equator to 90 degree north at pole, north pole, and for southern it is southern pole it is 0 degree equator to 90 degrees south. What is the eastern hemisphere? We consider it from prime meridian, 0 degree at Greenwich to 180 degree east, and similarly western we consider prime meridian 0 degree at Greenwich to 180 degree west. So these are the hemisphere of the earth. So if you can clearly see, this is the image in the NCERT book as well. Now let us understand what is the time zone or what are a time. We know it takes one full rotation on axis, 24 hours for Earth to complete its one rotation. That is 360 degree it turns in 24 hours. So per 1 hour, it moves around 15 degrees. How did this calculation come? 360 divided by 24 is 15 degree. So every 1 hour, 15 degree of longitude is what the Earth moves. 15 degree, 15 degree, 15 degree, 15 degree. So that means if it is at 0 degree, it is at 12 p.m. and it has moved 15 degrees ahead at one. So if it has moved 15 degrees, then it has become 1 hour has gone. Or if we say it has moved 1 hour, then it has moved 15 degrees. So that ways we have divided time zones. The local time zones were considered as per the sun's position of the location. But for the uniformity of the world, so we have a standard time zone which is using the Greenwich time. And with that, you would have seen that for India it is GMT plus 5.5 hours. So that means when it London it is at 12 noon, India it is 5:30 p.m. Because at every that is GMT plus 5:30 at every 1 hour, 15 degree of rotation has happened. So 5 hour into 15, 75 degree plus another half that is 7.5, that is around 82.5. So India's standard time is at 82.5 east. So where is this application happening? Applications are having happening in while you navigation. You would have been using Google Maps also for navigation, for time management, for understanding climates, various zones, and all the geopolitical boundaries of the world, or all the whatever we consider nation and political boundaries of the world. These are the practical application of the maps. Before I move on, I would also like to take you through a bit on the NCERT book. What do you say? So first part of it mention about map and its component. What are physical maps? What is political maps? What is thematic maps? Then they speak about the cardinal directions, north, east, south, west. It talks about scale. It talks about symbols, various symbols which is used to tell various location of the maps, like railway line, like boundary, international boundary, river, tank, well, canal. So one has to go through this because UPSC can ask a question through this because they're all standard symbols. Then mapping on the earth, we speak about globe. We understand about coordinates, what is latitude, what is equator, what are degrees, how are the degrees coming. Then we speak about what is uh, longitudes, what is prime meridian, how the globe is or Earth is divided between hemispheres. Then we speak about uh, the various hemisphere, four hemisphere division, the grid, that is the latitude and longitude, what grid they make. There is also a hint that when Greenwich meridian is the first prime meridian, similarly from ancient India, we also had devised our own meridian called it as Madhya Rekha or which is was passing through Ujjain. And Varamira was the scientist or astronomer who was around 1500 years ago working on the standardization of maps. And they have also drawn a map where it shows that the Ujjaini was at 75-degree meridian east, and it was passing through Ujjaini and Mahesmati or Maheshwar, a place where it was knowledge of seat for study. And in recent times, Rohtak would be a nearest location where it passed. So this map is very important. Then we understand about time zones, 360 degrees in 24 hours, 15-degree movement in every 1 hour. So that is how it moves. Then we spoke about how the standard time is based on Greenwich time, how other countries have devised their standard time as per the Greenwich time. And there is a concept of called date line, which is done, which is around, it is at the prime meridian, opposite to prime meridian line, and the date line is adjusted as per the uh, international boundaries. Now, in the date line, one beautiful concept happens that when we go from west to east, we lose a day. When we go from east to west, we gain a day. Now, that is very confusing to understand, but I would want you to go through it once and then let me know if you understood. And this is what the first lessons of uh, which is there in the NCERT. Apart from that, if we summarize the chapter's terminology, so let us go through the various terminologies in the chapter. So I wanted to show you this is the map, how the map is, it is saying map not to scale. And this is the map legend, which is the state boundary, district boundary, state boundary, district major roads, other roads, ring roads, metro, railway, river, green area. This is what is map. This is the coordinates direction wise, which is north side. You'll understand. And the entire map, this is a political map. So this is the political map of India, where you can see the international borders, where you can see the state duty border, capital of the country, state duty capital, and you can understand why how the boundaries are, mentioned. This is a physical map of India, which again has, if you zoom in, you'll realize see the grassland, the riverland, the various what do you call mountainous terrain, Himalayan land, the eastern Ghat, the western Ghat, the sea, every part. So it is talking about the physical part, and here it shows the depth from sea level. So green is what is the depth from sea level, and as heights increases, the color changes to brown. So that shows what is the height of that particular location. Then this is the thematic map where we talk about population, density wise. So you see that at various state, what is the population level? Accordingly, the coloring of the state has happened. So when we talk of the terms that we learned today, when we spoke about map, it is a representation of drawing of an area viewed from the top, a road map of a city showing street, landmark, and public places. Atlas is a book or collection of maps. An atlas of the world contains maps of different countries and continents. Physical maps, maps showing natural features like mountains, rivers, deserts, and oceans. A physical map of India shows Himalaya, Ganga River, and Thar deserts, and various other physical features. Political maps, maps displaying countries, states, boundaries, and cities. Thematic maps, maps showing information such as population, climate, land use. Distance, a map component, if it map is to scale, they say 1 centimeter is equal to 500 kilometer, like that. Direction, showing the map's cardinal points, that is north, south, east, west, and intermediate directions like northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. Symbols, various representation of buildings, roads, natural element on map. Scale, we map is to scale or map is not to scale. And cardinal direction, as I mentioned. Then intermediate direction also mentioned. Globe is a spherical representation of Earth or any other celestial body. Coordinates, a system of latitude and longitude to determine precise location of a place. Latitude is distance measured in degrees north or south of equator. Parallel of latitude is imaginary east-west lines parallel to equator marking latitude, like Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 north is a parallel of latitude. Longitude is distance measured in degrees east or west of the prime meridian. The longitude of London is about 0 degree east as it is near the prime meridian. Meridian of longitude is imaginary half circles running from pole to pole, marking longitudes. Prime meridian is the 0 degree longitude which passes through Greenwich, London. Grid is a system of latitude and longitude to know the coordinates of the place. Madhya Rekha, the ancient Indian term for prime meridian, which passed through Ujjaini, modern day Ujjain. Ujjaini meridian is the ancient Indian prime meridian used for astronomical purpose, passing through Ujjain. The Indian Standard Time or IST is 5 hours 30 minutes ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. Greenwich Mean Time is the solar mean time prime meridian in Greenwich, London, used as the reference time zone globally. International Dateline, an imaginary line approximately at 180-degree longitude, where crossing it results in a change of date. Time zones, the division of Earth's surface, generally 15 degrees of longitude wide, each corresponding to a different local time. Standard time, the official time adopted by a country, typically based on meridian passing through it. Local time, the actual specific time location based on the position of sun. Longitude based time difference, the time difference between two places based on their longitude. The difference of degree, you can tell that what is the time difference. Longitude and time calculation, that at every 15 degree 1 hour is what is calculated. Hemisphere, half of the earth divided into north and south by equator and eastern and western hemisphere by a prime meridian. Now, apart from that, time zones which we mentioned, countries like Russia have 11 time zones, America has 6 time zones. So that means in Russia, you have to change when you travel from east to west, you have to change your or set your watch at 10 times to be at various locations as per their time zone. So this is what is about today's lesson on. So this is today's lesson on NCERT, and you have the various revision note over there. Just go through it. These are all PDFs. Read through them. If it requires, print them out and do on your hand. But I would suggest to read them through as the revision. As we go forward, we will give you the question papers to revise multiple times all these concepts. Thank you.